The BJP is in the eye of a controversy after they fielded Chandra Singh Rolji from Godhra in the upcoming Gujarat elections, who had called Bilkis Banu's convicts, quote, sanskari Brahmins. And he was also part of the Gujarat government committee, which granted remission to the life-term convicts. And that's not all. The BJP has also fielded the Naroda Patia massacre case convict's daughter, Payal Kukrani, from the seat of Naroda. And NDTV has now found out that the life-term convict, Manoj Kulkarni, who is out on bail on medical grounds, is helping his daughter in the election campaign for the BJP by campaigning for her.
This is 30-year-old Payal Kukrani, whose entry on the BJP's list of candidates for Gujarat elections has sparked controversy. NDTV has now found out her father Manoj Kukrani, a life-term convict in the Naroda Patia massacre case, out on bail since 2015, is very much part of her election campaign. We even filmed Manoj being warmly greeted by BJP sitting MLA from Naroda, Balram Thawani, and party workers. Moreover, Payal has been made to contest from the Naroda seat, the same area where the massacre took place, in which her father was convicted. Manoj Kukrani was one of 32 people convicted in 2012 on charges of being part of the killing of 97 people during the Gujarat riots in 2002. According to his neighbours, Manoj Kukrani has mostly been out of jail on temporary bails ever since his conviction. When asked about her father's role, Payal says they've challenged his conviction in court.
My mother nearby me, she is also very experienced. See, the cases that have been जिनके ऊपर अभी भी appeal पे है, I don't want to comment on that.
Convicted, no, it's a convicted case, right?
We have kept in Supreme. We are still fighting, and I think I don't want to comment on it for the further, just for the opposition. Add one thing that I'm very lucky, and we all are, that we have been blessed with this seat, the BJP seat from Naroda Vidhan Sabha, and I am very grateful for the opportunity that we have got, and I would like to thank all the BJP party members.
Manoj Kukrani's family members also say that he didn't do anything wrong.
कोई न कोई संजोगों से उनका नाम वहाँ पे आ गया और उनको सफर करना पड़ रहा है. वो कोई गुनहगार नहीं है, वो भी एक बिजनेसमैन है, एपीएमसी मार्केट से जुड़े हुए हैं. और ये क्या है, उस टाइम पे एक हादसा हो गया और उनका नाम जुड़ गया तो वो भुगत रहे हैं, लेकिन उनसे इनको कोई लेना देना नहीं है. आज पब्लिक को क्या चाहिए? विकास के काम चाहिए. आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी, अमित शाह जी और गुजरात की भाजपा इतने अच्छे विकास के काम कर रही है, तो ये सब फालतू की बातें हैं, इससे कोई कनेक्शन नहीं.
Payal, an anesthetist with no political experience, has replaced the sitting BJP MLA in Naroda, which the opposition says is further proof that she was picked by the BJP purely to reward riot convicts.
तो पार्टी वालों ने ऐसा समझा होगा कि भाई यह परिवार हमारे भारतीय जनता पार्टी के विकास के लिए सरकार बनाने में काफी योगदान था, इसलिए हमें कुछ देना चाहिए. इसलिए मनोज के घर से जो है वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की कॉर्पोरेटर भी है और अभी होने वाले 2022 के गुजरात के विधानसभा में नरोड़ा विधानसभा से उन्हीं की पुत्री यानी पायलबेन कुकरानी जी को नरोड़ा विधानसभा का भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कैंडिडेट बनाया.
We reached out to the BJP for comment on texts and calls, but did not get a response from them. BJP's nomination of an MLA from Godhra who called Bilkis Banu's convicts sanskari Brahmins, and a candidate from Naroda who's the daughter of Naroda Patia massacre case convict, has made them a political target by the opposition parties ahead of the Gujarat elections. With Tanushree Pandey, Bureau Reports, NDTV.
And the Supreme Court Collegium is a perfectly correct and balanced way to appoint judges. The former Chief Justice UU Lalit has told NDTV this after the Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju called the system opaque. Now, these comments come 2 days after the Supreme Court expressed displeasure over the delay by the centre in clearing the names recommended for appointment as judges in the higher judiciary, including those reiterated by the Collegium, and said that keeping them pending is not acceptable.
Overall, because there is this constant question that comes up about judicial independence, how independent would you say is India's judiciary, especially higher judiciary, Supreme Court?
Very independent.
Very independent?
Very independent. Absolutely independent.
No pressures, no...
See, one can't say that perhaps an individual may come under some pressure. That's a different thing. But as a body, as a collective, as an organ, as a judicial organ, it's completely independent.
Have you, in your time as both a judge and Chief Justice of India, ever faced any pressure of any kind from the executive?
Never, not at all.
No formal or informal message, phone call?
Absolutely nothing.
And the Punjab government has clamped down on the infamous gun culture of the state and tightened arms regulations. The Chief Minister Bhagat Mann issued strict instructions regarding gun ownership and display of guns, including the banning of the public display of weapons, both online and offline. Songs glorifying weapons of violence will also be strictly prohibited. And an explosion occurred on a railway track near Udaipur on Sunday, hours before the recently inaugurated Aswara-Udaipur express train from Ahmedabad was supposed to pass. The police say they are investigating all angles, including sabotage. Officials say that mining explosives were used to damage the tracks on the Odha bridge near the Kevada Canal, which comes under the Jowar Mines police station of Udaipur. The Chief Minister says the incident is worrying. He's ordered the Director General of Police to investigate the matter thoroughly.
There was an explosion on a track about 35 kilometers away from Udaipur. The teams of state government ATS, central government NIA, railways RPF, all the teams are there on the site. Moment the information came, everybody reached at the site. Investigation is going on. Whomsoever has done this kind of destructive activity, they will be severely punished. The team to restore the bridge is ready on the site.
And India is signatory to the Mangrove Alliance for Climate at the COP27 taking place in Egypt, and India is also home to one of the largest remaining areas of mangroves in the world. We're talking about the Sundarbans. And the Union Minister for Environment and Forests has told the world that India can contribute to the global knowledge base due to its extensive experience in mangrove restoration and studies on ecosystem valuation and carbon sequestering. NDTV now brings you a special report from the Sundarbans as its future has drawn the attention of the world at the COP27 climate conference.
हमारा आंखों के सामने बहुत जमीन और मेरा खुद का घर भी चला गया कुमिरमारी आइलैंड में, तो अभी इसके लिए हम लोग जिम्मेदारी नहीं है। तो मेरा ये प्रेयर है पूरा दुनिया का सामने, जो आप लोगों का जो पोल्यूशन का कारण से हम लोगों का जमीन, घर और हम लोगों का सब कुछ नदी का अंदर।
Sanjay Mondal has hit the nail on the head. They are suffering loss and damage due to climate change, the cause of which have been carbon dioxide emissions in developed rich nations. At the major climate summit, their leaders are under pressure to cough up money for this loss and damage to help developing and poor nations cope with global warming. Erosion is one of the primary reasons for loss and damage in the Sundarbans. Now, this embankment that I'm standing on has been built to protect agricultural land. This side is the river, which is saline water, and this embankment was actually almost up till those trees that you can see in these pictures. But the river has eaten up that land. As a result, this embankment has shifted here, and the agricultural land that was still there has now moved right behind here. Home to 7.2 million people, this 10,000 square kilometer delta of mangrove forests could be the first casualty of irresponsible, carbon reckless economies and lifestyles. 64-year-old Prashanto Bishwas has lived all his life in the Sundarbans, and in his lifetime he has seen his agricultural land shrink as the river has continued to swallow up land.
চাষের জমি আমার এখান থেকে ছিল ধরুন আরো প্রায় 1-1.5 ফিট ছিল, আর এখন বর্তমানে সরে সরে গেছে, গিয়ে জমি এখন কমে যাচ্ছে। নদী তখন আরো ছোট ছিল, এখন পরপর সেটা বেড়ে অনেক বড় হয়ে গেছে।
This is the story across the Sundarbans, an ecologically sensitive delta where the landmass undergoes change due to erosion and sediment deposits by rivers. But the problem is especially acute in the Indian part of Sundarbans, where sediment deposits have seen a sharp drop due to man-made changes in the rivers upstream. Home to some of the poorest and most vulnerable communities, subsistence farming is their only means of survival. But as they deal with multiple problems of rising sea levels, erosion, increasing salinity of water and loss of habitat and livelihood, add to that the increased occurrence of devastating effects of extreme weather events like cyclones. But the world's polluters simply don't seem to care enough, even though projections suggest that an estimated 15 lakh people will have to be relocated. Historically, the developed countries have polluted the atmosphere the most on the way to super-rich economies. Even now, the per capita emissions, for example, Americans is 8 times more than Indians. In fact, per capita emissions of greenhouse gases at 1.9 tons a year is even lower than the global average of 4.7.
অনেক সময় আমাদের নদীবাঁধ ভেঙে আমাদের এলাকায় জল ঢুকে প্লাবিত হয়ে যাচ্ছে। সেই নোনা জলের কারণে আমরা ফসলেরও অনেক বিঘ্ন ঘটছে। নদীবাঁধ পরস্পর ভেঙে 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 আমাদের জমি নদীগর্ভে চলে যাচ্ছে। তখন আমাদের এমনই মনে হয় যে এই দেশ ছেড়ে হয়তো আমাদের একদিন পালিয়ে যেতে হবে।
In 2016, the land area in the Sundarbans had shrunk by 210 square kilometers since 1967. The area has lost 12% of its shoreline in the last 40 years, and coastlines are moving inwards by as high as 40 centimeters every year in some areas. Some of these islands will completely disappear within the next 50 to 100 years, and some have already disappeared. Experts say adaptation is simply not enough, and the need for climate finance is immediate, with an urgent redefining of the Sundarbans.
The climate finance context is really critical in terms of Sundarban. If we want to finance properly and effective financing then we need to first redefine Sundarban and then come out with the financing opportunities and necessities in accordance to that.
The Sundarbans has near zero contribution to global emissions, but the area will pay the highest price for unchecked environmental degradation as a result of climate change. Homes, livelihoods, habitats, everything will be lost. But do the world's biggest polluters care for these unique islands and this delta system? Who will foot the bill for the damage caused by climate change? With camera person GD Shankar in the Sundarbans, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.